everybody. This is George K with Action Coach. This is the Entrepreneur Spotlight interview, and we've got a great guest for you today. We have Guillaume, who is with Bullseye Modeling. Guillaume, thanks for joining us today on the Entrepreneur Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, George.
So, Guillaume, tell me, what is Bullseye Modeling?
Bullseye Modeling is a company that I founded a little bit over 6 years ago that does energy consumption analysis through modeling, mostly for industrial buildings, but also for like what we like to call heavy commercial buildings. That means commercial buildings that have a high variation in their consumption. A good example of those, to give you an idea, would be like hotels, because the occupancy rate varies drastically from one day to the next, and it has a huge impact on their consumption. But if you want to understand it, then you have to go a little bit deeper.
I get it. All right. So 6 years, you're not a startup anymore. You've been around for a while. Tell us about what was it that was your inspiration? Why did you decide to do this?
When I was a student, one of the big challenges of our society that was announced for the 21st century was the energy crisis, right? And I think we're in the middle of it right now. So I wanted to contribute in solving that. I initially looked at the production side, like trying to create more renewable, more green energy. And then I ended up going more on the consumer side, trying to reduce waste and manage better. And that's how I got roped into this.
So, okay, so a lot of times we see with entrepreneurs, it's a client opportunity that leads them down the path to where they go. Was that what happened with you, or was more that you saw more opportunities doing it this way than the other way?
It's kind of a middle of the road thing, I would say, because as I was doing my master's in applied science, I was doing numerical simulation, whatever. But that made a consulting firm approach me to tell me, well, we have this good mathematical model, and we would like to transform it into a software. Are you up for the challenge? And obviously, on my own, the answer is no. But to plan the algorithm, to design like the solution, I was very interested by that challenge. I decided to dive in, and I ended up that, well, you know what? You know the software more than anyone. Why don't you operate it as well? and that's how I founded Bullseye. I ended up with that software that does that modeling.
It reminds me of that hot potato game. You know, you have a hot potato, and it's like, here, you take the hot potato. Now it's yours.
Yeah, it sure did feel that way a few times, especially when I had to work on the weekends and the evenings to make sure everything works. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get it. And you know what? That's the story that so many entrepreneurs go through. So let's talk about that a little bit. So what were some of so do I understand this was your first entrepreneurial foray? So you went from school to projects to this? Is that true? Is that what happened?
Not completely. I had during my student life, I had a little bit of entrepreneur project. Even going back in high school, I had like a side project where we had like this arcade type of space inside the school to make sure that students
don't go outside.
Difficulty to socialize at an activity where they could gather and start having a social life. So yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Are your parents entrepreneurial, or is someone in your family that's entrepreneurial?
Yeah. My father is. I had an aunt that had their company for a few decades.
Gotcha.
It runs in the family. Yeah, definitely.
I tend to see that very, very often. That's why I include that question very often, especially when I hear somebody young getting into an entrepreneurial enterprise. So that's great. So let's fast forward. You do this consulting work. They say, hey, you're doing a great job, take it. How many years ago was that?
Well, when I was offered to take over and really run the software, that's when I founded Bullseye. So that was in 2018.
Okay.
But we started the development of the software in 2013. So
okay, all right. So you've got this hot potato. You've got
sure.
this hot potato in your hands, and you formed this company. So what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome? What were some of the challenges that you had to overcome in now taking this project and turning it into a business?
Okay, so the main thing for us was that we came onto the market with a product that nobody knew about. And it solved some issue, but then you have to build credibility as well, because if your solution is too good, everybody thinks you're a fraud. So, so establishing credibility and coming up with concrete way that we were making our customers' life easier was really the challenge to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Okay. So credibility is always. So did the consulting company that you were originally working with, did they help you with that credibility piece? Because typically a consulting company has credibility.
Yes. Yeah, they sure did. They were really nice. They accompany us very well. We still do project with them when we have the chance, and yeah, for sure. When they threw us the hot potato, they at the same time they transfer us some of their clients that were interested in the reason they started in the project to begin with. So
Good.
there was this bridge that they built that allowed us to not start from scratch completely. That definitely helped a lot.
Talk to me a little bit about financing. A lot of startups typically struggle with financing. I get the fact that you had this kind of maison mère, you had this
Yeah.
mentor kind of helping you, guiding you, but they probably weren't throwing cash at you. So what were some of the challenges that you had with financing? Were you bootstrapping? Did you have investors? How did you manage?
We were bootstrapping. So the way we did it is that we draft very vague contract with our employees and supplier, where we were able to modulate the expenses to match our incomes. So yeah,
That's good.
I think when you're bootstrapping, that's a very efficient way to do it, is to make sure that you are in control of your expenses, not to get overflow.
I love the way you did create contracts. So a lot of times startups, they kind of leave everything very loose, and they leave everything very like on a handshake kind of a thing, and that could lead to a lot of misunderstandings and problems. So I like the fact that you set expectations, and you made sure everyone was aware that, hey, if we do well, you do well. If we suffer, you're going to suffer too. So yeah.
Well, yes, I think that mutual understanding is very important. Otherwise, as you said, it creates frustration, and then you risk losing the talents that were with you since the beginning, and then that turnover costs a lot, right? So.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I think it's something a lot of people underestimate, is how much that turnover costs. I think it's a huge thing. Okay, so how big is your team now?
In the Bullseye family, let's say we're just shy of 10 employee plus externals.
Very good, very good. And your operations, are you regional, national, international?
I like to say that we go where we're needed. We're mostly recognized right now in Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. We are trying to bridge over in Ontario, Manitoba, and a little bit in the States as well. So we're trying.
Good, excellent. I love that. Is your operation a SaaS operation? Is it a consulting operation? Okay, it's a SaaS.
It's a bit of both, actually. because to put the setup of the and the configuration of the software to make sure that it can be used properly, then we offer the service, because I think it's a nonsense to throw your customer in the deep end like, oh, we have this tool, learn how
Good
to
luck.
learn how to deal with it on your own. So
Okay.
we accompany them in the setup, and this is a bit more consultant oriented type of job. And then for those of them that want to manage their energy, that want to keep an eye and track their energy consumption as it evolves, because when we are talking about industrial customers, there's a lot of evolution from day to day, week to week, and so on. So that is more like a SaaS where you pay a membership per year, depending on your usage.
Understood. Gotcha. Talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had with customer acquisition, your marketing, and getting the word out. What has been some of your tactics? What have you found has been successful for you, to get the word out about your customers, to your customers?
Well, yeah, as I said, the main issue in our line of work is credibility and making sure that the advantages will be there for the customer. They're kind of not that into taking risks, even if it can pay out. So one of the main way we used to solve that is we went straight to the utilities, because they have all those subsidies programs where if you use this solution or this other solution, we're gonna finance it.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to get pre-recognition before implementing project from them directly, and then we were able to go to our customers and say, well, maybe you're not well placed to judge if we're going to make you money or not, but this guy who's the specialist of the provinces said that our solution is good and he's willing to finance it. So yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Then that also addresses your credibility piece, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it gives us a good sales pitch.
If Hydro-Quebec says, hey, if you use Bullseye, we're gonna either give you a discount on your energy bill or something to that effect. It really lends a lot of credibility.
Yes, although they never go that far, but they added to the list of the accepted solutions. So gotcha. I don't think Hydro-Quebec has a list specifically. I know Nova Scotia does, New Brunswick has one as well, but it's easier in Quebec, where you say, well, you know what, the energy management specialist of Hydro-Quebec is this person. Here's his information. Contact him if you have any doubts. He has judged our solution already. So.
Well, given how fragile the grid is in the Greater Montreal area, I'm sure your services are in dire need in many places.
Yeah. I had the occasion to experience that firsthand a few times lately.
I've consulted with some companies and they have great solution for a building, and they say, yeah, let's go. And then they contact Hydro and they said, sorry, we can't give you a kilowatt more of energy. Like, we got nothing. We got zero. There's no more space. So yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, big problem. Okay, cool. So what is the future? So I guess there's two parts to this question. Like, what is your big vision? Like, what's your goal? What's motivating you to keep going? I know you said when you were younger, you were impressed with the energy crisis, and you saw that, hey, if I want to make a better world for my children, we got to do something about this. I get that. Now you're an adult, you're building a business. I get that might be your original motivation, but what's your goal now? What are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, well, if we want to go more into specifics, the goal, that the hopefully achievable goal of Bullseye modeling is to lower the threshold of who can afford to implement energy management in the organization.
Okay.
So with our approach, we are able to have an energy consumption analysis that is cheaper to obtain and to keep up. And that is the core of managing your energy, is knowing how you consume, why you consume, and how you can improve your consumption profile. So by tracking your consumption repeatedly, you're in a great position to manage your energy better, reduce your waste, reduce your greenhouse gas emission. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to inside a smaller industrial facility to start implementing energy management project when before us they just couldn't afford it. So
Gotcha.
we're making it more affordable so that they can enter the dance, and we get this extra margin of consumption that we free for other usage.
I love it. That's a great, you're going after a good niche, and I love the reason for doing it. So, bravo, great job.
Thank you.
Are there any specific things that you would like our audience to know in terms of like, how can they engage with you? Like, who is the right kind of client? And you talked about smaller enterprises, but give us an example of what that would be. Give us a good example of who would be the right person to reach out to you.
Well, we have two types right now. We're aiming directly at smaller manufacturers, so industrial buildings that have I don't know, between $200,000, $300,000 worth of consumption annually, up to around $1 million. Those would be our main customers, because higher than that, they have the resources to implement the fancy solution that existed before us. Lower than that, they don't see the return on investment being as interesting. That's fair.
Which probably is a large. It sounds like that's a large section of the entrepreneurial base, of the manufacturing base.
It sounds like that, because the interval is pretty wide in terms of repartition. Statistically, it's not that huge of a pool, but it's still significant. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to survive. And the other segment of the market that we're interested in, that we would like to push forward more, is consultants that do energy reduction project, energy savings project, energy management project. The consultant that already do that job for industrial buildings of all size, and that they have a portfolio to manage, then they can manage their portfolio through our portal, and they will be able to keep track on the savings, on the consumption, and on why it consumes in a much more efficient way. And I think for someone that is active enough, there is how can I say that, productivity augmentation that will justify using the tool.
Well, you're giving them access to a whole new market. I mean, if before they were only able to deal with clients that had $1 million or more of consumption, and you're opening a huge, another layer. I mean, it's a huge opportunity for a consultant now.
It's true. On the one end, that is true. On the other end, a consultant often charge in percentage of the total project, so they will be more willing to invest their time in selling a $500,000 system than a $20,000-$30,000 system. So there's a bit of
you might have to do a little bit of creative.
That is,
you might have to do a little bit of creative marketing, and look at maybe look at different types of consultants that typically weren't in the market to begin with, that might have a parallel that could be an incentive to them.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I think we should yeah, we should explore that idea more, definitely.
I can think of several of them. So yeah, it's
We should keep talking later then.
All right, cool. Well, Guillaume, this has been amazing. I really appreciate you sharing the time with us. I think there's a lot of lessons here that entrepreneurs can learn. One, don't give up on your passion. You stuck to your passion right from school all the way through. You were open to an opportunity. You had an opportunity that you had the hot potato like thrown at you, and you were willing to grab it, like you were willing to do it. And you focused on bootstrapping, but you had a lot of transparency, and you turned your employees and your suppliers into partners, which I think is really, really critical in being able to sustain, long-term growth. And let's face it, you made it to 6 years. Most companies don't make it to 5. So the fact that you made it to 6 is huge. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come discuss with you as well.
We look forward to hearing big things from Bullseye in the near future.
Thanks a lot.